Hey guys, welcome back to Carib 21, where we share what's trending in and around the Caribbean. If it's your first time joining, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. So, in today's video, I would like to talk about Ralph Gonsalves, aka Vincent World Boss, the Prime Minister of the beautiful island of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So, this week I've been bringing you some of the highlights from the United General Debate, and today I want to talk about the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Ralph Gonsalves, and his presentation at the United Nations General Debate and how he shocked the world. Let's talk about it.
Your Excellencies, the war in Ukraine, the genocide in Gaza, the conflicts in the Yemen, Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the threats across the Taiwan Strait, an empire's designs on revolutionary Cuba and Venezuela, the violence and more in Haiti, and such like disruptions of the peace globally, all have specific origins and context.
Seem to be the strongest of all the world leaders so far. He managed to use some very strong words, in particular when we're talking about the war that is going on between Israel and Palestine and just the Middle East in general. He used some very strong words that I don't think I've heard other leaders so far using when he talks about the genocide that is taking place with the people of Palestine. So that was the first takeaway. Like I was shocked when the words came out of his mouth, because a lot of the world leaders stay away from using that word. So I was very shocked when those words came out of his mouth. And I know that he is one of the longest serving leader in the world. He's been in power for like, I think about 5 or so terms. So he has managed to build up a lot of political capital. So I don't think he's in fear of like his political career going forward, because as I said, like he's been there for a long time. I don't think any other leader in the Caribbean apart from Fidel Castro have served as long as Ralph Gonsalves is serving. So that was the first one for me, that he managed to use the word genocide. What I must say though, and it's of my belief that this United Nations General Debate has been the best one so far out of like, it's what, 79 years, and from the ones that I can remember paying attention to, this one seemed to be the best one so far for the Caribbean. In particular, all the Caribbean islands seem to be in one accord in pertaining to Cuba and to Haiti. So I think that was the highlight for me, seeing one by one the Caribbean leaders going up there, holding America in particular accountable for what is going on in Haiti, for what is going on in Cuba, because I've always said that there's no reason for Cuba to still be under an embargo. Like over 60 years, an embargo that was put in place to punish the government of Cuba. Clearly, the government's not being punished, is the people of Cuba. So it was very good to see that every single leader from the Caribbean that went up there and they spoke, Cuba was at the center and Haiti was at the center of their speech. Some speech was more believable, some speech more passionate, but all the leaders of the Caribbean came together and talked about Haiti and spoke about Cuba, because it is very important. I believe that in my lifetime I would love to see a Haiti that is able to control their destiny, and for Haiti to come out of the rut that they have been in for decades. I would love to live to see Cuba, like the embargo lifted from Cuba, and to see the possibility, because Cuba is one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. And I just sit down and think, what would a free Cuba be like? Would Cuba be able to trade on the international stage? How would that impact that economy? And how beautiful Cuba be, and the potential that the Cuban people, you know, they can live up to their full potential without this embargo over them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw it to the video, and we're going to watch this video. And Please comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, his presentation at the United Nations General Debate. If you're from St. Vincent, put your flag in the comment section. If you're living in the diaspora, you're a Vinci, but you're living in Toronto, Canada, you're living in New York, you're living in London, just put 2 flags and let me know if you're proud of the presentation from Vinci World Boss. Let's take a look.
Your Excellencies, the war in Ukraine, the genocide in Gaza, the conflicts in the Yemen, Sudan, and the Democratic Republic of the Congo, the threats across the Taiwan Strait, and empire's designs on revolutionary Cuba and Venezuela, the violence and more in Haiti, and such like disruptions of the peace globally, all have specific origins and contexts. But they are all reflective, too, of a failure of multilateralism, a hamstrung United Nations framework, and a derogation from the fundamental precepts of the Charter of the United Nations. Large, powerful nations, singly or in allied combinations, have a propensity to seek dominance. In this milieu, opportunistic or servile alliances emerge or persist as the particular circumstances admit. It all degenerates into a Manichean politics of the madhouse. Hypocrisy, disinformation, and folly reign supreme. Your Excellencies, in this context arises the trope of the neoliberal global order that the principal contradiction in today's global political economy is between democracy and autocracy. Still, all the self-serving shibboleths and gloss of this fictional construct will not wash away the unrepentant sins of the past or the cruel impositions of the present. The blinding truth is that the central contradiction in today's political economy is not between democracy and autocracy. The main contradiction has been, and still is today, that which revolves around the fundamental material questions of who gets what, when, where, and how. It is centrally about the struggle or competition for ownership, control, and distribution of material resources, which constitute the basis for regional or global hegemony. Everywhere, more and more, the poor, the hungry, the marginalized, the disadvantaged are clamoring and organizing for a different and better future. Not an unacceptable past, not a present without possibilities of upliftment, but for a future beyond unbounded elements. Your Excellencies, sadly, in our region, we have been experiencing the lived reality that the imperial ghost of Monroe still stalks the marbled halls of the citadels of a neighboring great country of extraordinary possibilities to the detriment of countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. No country in our hemisphere can reasonably be considered a security or other threat to this great nation. Yet St. Vincent and the Grenadines and other Caribbean countries have been damaged collaterally and directly in significant material ways by the weaponizing of the financial system and the unjust unilateral coercive sanctions against Venezuela and Cuba, which are in breach of international law. I am pleading with our friends for an amicable reset of these troubled relations in the interest of peace, mutual respect, justice, and prosperity. The international community continues overwhelmingly and rightly to demand the end of the unilateral sanctions, the embargoes, and unfair declarations about state sponsorship of terrorism and more made against Cuba. Your Excellencies, on July the 1st, 2024, the Category 4 Hurricane Beryl battered St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, and Jamaica. Since the dawn of the 21st century, this is the 12th significant natural disaster to have struck my country. Hurricane Beryl has adversely affected 1/5 of our population and has caused economic damage amounting to 1/3 of our country's gross domestic product. The relief, recovery, and reconstruction processes are underway. On behalf of the government and people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I thank all countries and organizations, including the United Nations, that have come to our aid in the aftermath of the hurricane. Unfortunately, for the recovery and rebuilding processes, we are essentially on our own. We have had to seek significant loans to rebuild our physical infrastructure and 5,000 houses, to provide income support for affected persons, and to mobilize production support for the agricultural, fishing, and tourism industries. I'm appealing to the international community, our dear friends, to assist us, not with further burdensome loans, but with requisite grants. The recovery and reconstruction after every natural disaster increased sharply our debt burden. Countries like ours have contributed little or nothing to global warming and man-made climate change, yet we suffer largely alone on the front lines. This cannot be fair. It cannot be just. Do we have to choose death or debt? DEATH or DEBT? Which one we have to choose? Your Excellencies, the Caribbean community, the African Union, the community of states of Latin America and the Caribbean, their diasporas, and all fair-minded persons globally have been insisting that the European nations responsible for native genocide and the enslavement of African bodies pay reparations for the consequential legacy of underdevelopment. This issue of transformative reparative justice will not go away until it is appropriately addressed. Your Excellencies, the suffering and pain of the Haitian people continue to weigh heavily on the consciences of our Caribbean. Through the efforts of the Haitian people, in tandem with the regional and international communities, especially CARICOM, the USA, Canada, and Kenya, a measure of progress has been made on some fronts, but immense challenges remain in the humanitarian, security, political, and economic spheres. The building of a free, democratic, peaceful, and prosperous Haiti demands commitment and concerted action from all the relevant stakeholders in pursuance of solutions devised by Haitians and led by Haitians. Haiti fatigue is not an option for the international community. Your Excellencies, in our Caribbean, there is a growing challenge of violent crime involving the combustible mix of imported guns and bullets, illegally exported marijuana, and the trafficking of cocaine from South America. It is evident that this challenge demands much closer cooperation operationally between all the countries concerned in the Caribbean, North America, South America, and Europe. In the Middle East, the collective punishment meted against the Palestinians in Gaza and the continued illegal occupation of Palestinian lands, including in the West Bank, amidst accompanying state terror by an Israeli regime in total defiance of international law, is utterly unacceptable. Surely, despite the complexities of the problems at hand, this United Nations, especially the Security Council, ought to summon the courage and will to stop the carnage and facilitate the lasting peace and security. Your Excellencies, in the Far East, the prospect of a disruption of the tenuous peace across the Taiwan Strait is alarming. The quest for hegemony and the denial of a people's inalienable right to self-determination are wrong in the East as it is in the West. Bullying is objectionable in the West as it is in the East. Unilateral coercive action by a big power in the East is contrary to international law as it is surely in the West. St. Vincent and the Grenadines continues to urge that Taiwan be allowed to participate fully in the specialized agencies of the United Nations, including those pertaining to health, air and sea transport, climate change, disaster preparedness, and global policy.
Okay, so that was the presentation from Vincent World Boss, aka Mr. Ralph Gonsalves. So one of my takeaway, what is interesting is that one of the things that I thought while watching this presentation is that I am a bit worried because, as I said, Ralph Gonsalves been the leader of St. Vincent and the Grenadines for decades. I know that St. Vincent is doing, they are on the rise in terms of tourism, in terms of a new airport. The eyes are on St. Vincent now. As I've said in previous videos, that I believe that St. Vincent is the not even the next hotspot of the Caribbean. I believe that right now St. Vincent is the place that a lot of people want to go in the Caribbean because it's new to a lot of people. And because of a new airport now, it's possible to fly from New York, it's possible to fly from Toronto, from Montreal, from places without the layover in Trinidad or in Barbados. But my thing now is that I just felt that the Prime Minister could have had someone, a young person representing in terms of like mentorship. I am worried about if something was supposed to happen to the Prime Minister, how would St. Vincent and the Grenadines manage? Because I believe that a presentation at the United Nations General Debate, like there could have been like a young finance minister that's on his team that he could pretty much be grooming and sending over there to do stuff like that, because he's a seasoned leader. He's been around for a long time, and sometimes the leadership in the Caribbean from past experiences that sometimes leaders hold on so long, and sometimes they don't groom the next leaders of the time to take over, and then when young leaders take over, it's like they have to learn on the fly. So I would say that that's the only thing for me, the only negative takeaway from Ralph Gonsalves being at the United Nations General Debate. I believe like it's time now to groom some young, bright, Vincent person to step up on the world stage and to shine. That's my only negative takeaway. But guys, let me know what you think in the comment section. Do you think it was a good presentation? Do you agree with me that I don't know if there's a foreign minister, like a young foreign minister that could be on the world stage developing themselves as a political leader for the future? But that is my my only negative takeaway. So sound off, let me know what you think. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more amazing content. Peace. I'm out.